Hey everyone, welcome back to another Zwift racing video, and today I'm going to be talking about how I got dropped in this regular B race. Now normally I can keep up with these riders, but this time I cannot, and that's because I took around 5 weeks off of cycling because I was sick, so I lost a ton of fitness there. But in this video I am going to be talking about how I got dropped, why I got dropped, and what I could have done next time to maybe prevent getting dropped, even though I am at a lower fitness than I normally am at. Before we get too far into this video, please hit that like, subscribe button. It really helps support the channel. And with that, let's get on with the video. So first off, the details of this race. This is the Evo CC Sprint Race Series on Zwift, and it's just a short sprint race of around 10 miles or around 25 minutes of racing. And you can see that I am on the Mech Isle loop in the new expansion, Urukazi in Makuri Islands. So you can see that I am going up the climb that will soon be my fate to get me dropped. And that is this Mech Isle climb here, and it's a short gravel drag, but it does last around 1 to 2 minutes depending on your category. And for me, it lasted around a minute and a half to 2 minutes because I am just suffering. And even though these riders are not the fastest compared to what I used to race with, I am still suffering. You can see that my heart rate's up to 207, 208. And first disclaimer, I am a junior rider, so that explains why my heart rate is much higher, and that does also explain my watts per kilo being a lot higher. So I am around 41 kilos in case anybody is wondering, because it can be kind of suspicious if you just come across a rider riding at 40 kilograms. So back to the video, you can see that I did make it successfully up that climb, and I am now just going down the descent of around -4%, so it's nothing too major, and I am just chilling here trying to recover the best possible because I know that my legs are already tired and I'm feeling very fatigued at this point. So I'm just trying to make sure that I get that recovery in while I can, because the parts later on in this race are going to be a lot harder. And the lead group is already down to 7 riders, which gives me a good shot at taking a top 5 place in this race. Now, heading into that last lap, I'm planning to just do the best I can to recover and chill, as I already stated, but I'm also going to try to just give it my all on that climb and just really focus on emptying the tank, giving it everything I have left so that I don't have any more energy left, and really just trying to make sure that I can really have a strong finish there, and I don't want to get dropped. That's my goal, is to not get dropped in this race, because I am already suffering, so I know that there is a high chance I'm going to get dropped, but my plan is just to stick with the lead group until the finish. But things don't always go as planned, and I'm going to be explaining more later on in this video. Now, another thing that you should note is that there are some riders in this race who are, let's just say, questionable, and that's because there is no category enforcement in this race. It is completely open, so riders can join whatever category they would like. So I definitely could have joined D, but I joined to B because that is my proper category. But other riders, that might not have been the case, but I can't confirm nor deny that any riders in this race are cheating, because I don't want to get that statement started in this race, because I am not sure, as it is an open race, and this is what you should expect going into one of these races. Now, most races at this point do have category enforcement, so this is not something that you should necessarily worry about in every one of your races, because normally this does not happen. So the rider that I am talking about is that rider who you can see kind of sprinting off the front pretty frequently. So in this section of the race, not much does occur, so I am going to fast forward a bit, because the interesting part does come in around a mile-ish, and I'm going to skip over to that area. Another thing to note about this race is that there are no power-ups, and that's just the organizer's choice to not include power-ups in this race. So that kind of gives me a disadvantage compared to other races where I have a power-up to kind of save me on the tough parts of the course, when I can use my power-up strategically to my advantage. So right here you can see that there is starting to be a little bit more separation compared to earlier. It's not just a tight blob, and now it's getting kind of stretched out, so that's kind of a mistake on my part for not really paying that much attention and not following the attacks as soon as they are made, as it was only a slight attack, and that could have saved me some extra energy because the climb is coming up. So I spent a little bit of extra energy here trying to catch up, which is not really that great of a choice on my part. or I definitely could have done that better, and that would have helped me save power for this finishing stretch. So you can see that 2 riders are up the road pushing the pace, and that's kind of going to be what brings the group apart. As you can see, that rider is in the sprinting position sometimes and in the climbing positions other times, and they're just really pushing the pace, trying to make this hard for everyone else. And right now I am kind of still chilling, but my heart rate is over 200 at this point, so it's not as easy as I would like, around 1.5 miles out of the race. And you see that that rider who is sprinting the entire time is back, and you can see some more attacks off the front. So right here I try to really increase my power as much as possible, and I hit over 270 watts, which is pretty good, but that is not quite enough to bring the riders back, and there still is way too much separation to really lock onto that draft and do the best possible. I also did not pace this quite as well as I would have liked. As you can see here, riders are starting to pass me, and I kind of just have to put a desperate surge to try and stay on, but I don't quite stay on here, and this is where I get dropped, and I realize that there is no catching back up at this point because it is a climb. They're still pushing more watts per kilo than me, so I started to give up here, and I slowly lowered my power, still keeping the pressure high because I know that there are still riders behind me that I can beat in that finishing sprint. So I'm going to wait here so that they can catch up, and then really just draft them until the finish, and then do my best to outsprint them. To prevent that, I think that something that I should have done was pace that better. Instead of putting a massive surge at the start of the climb, putting in more of a steady surge and staying near the back so I still have energy to put in that last surge and I'll still be in the draft. And then also before that climb actually does start, making sure that I really lock onto the draft there, because I did start to fall behind and I did have to put in an extra surge that definitely tired me out more before the climb. Going forward in this race, I knew that I was still in this race for top 10, and I wanted to beat these 3 other riders who were with me. So I was really just trying to stick with them and hold on to their wheels while I descend this climb so that I can still have some fun in this race and know that I did outsprint some riders. So at this point, the race is not over yet, and there is still a point in continuing to push. So after that descent, my legs are starting to feel a bit more fresh. So you can see here that I put in a big surge, and I see that I gain a lot of momentum. So I continue on with that surge to try and catch that rider who is around 5 seconds ahead of me, but I eventually realized that I'm just not going fast enough to catch that rider, and it's kind of a lost cause, but I still continue to keep the pace high to just kind of spread out the group and see if I can take this all the way to the finish. But once I start to die out and my legs kind of just give out, I realize that I need to drop back a bit so that I can put in a solid finishing sprint. And I enjoy sprinting, even though I'm not the best at it. I still enjoy sprinting on Zwift because it's just a lot more fun, in my opinion. So the key takeaway from today is that getting dropped is not the worst thing, and when you do get dropped, continue to fight for that next best position, and really just make the most of the situation because you've already come so far, and you should just take it all the way, like you're going to see me do here. And right here, I just put in a small surge so that I can stick with these riders and then outsprint them at the end. And that really just makes the race a whole lot better than just completely easing off and just quitting for the rest of the race, because it's just a lot less satisfying knowing that you did not give it everything you have left. And that's exactly what you're going to see me do right here. I'm going to just draft these riders until around 0.2 to go, and then I'll just unleash every last watt that I have left to try and make this the most exciting I can. And now 5 riders have joined me, 6 riders now, so it's definitely getting a lot more interesting, and there are a lot more riders in contention with me. What I plan to do is to get ready and prepare, do some more races, do some more training, and then in around a month I'm going to come back to this race and see how I do compared to this effort. I really want to see how much I can improve in 1 month after taking around 5 weeks off of cycling because of sickness. So I will report back with that race. Meanwhile, I will be completing more races. I just likely won't be at the same performance that I was before, but I'm going to give it my best. And yeah, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps support the channel. And with that, ride on and see you all next time.